You know, a garden attracts insects, which supports a healthy ecosystem.
Oh yeah? Well, I bet you I get a lot of critters with this little garden of mine.
Oh, please. You think that pile of weeds is going to attract any insects at all?
I sure do. In fact, how about this? Let's have a bug off. See whose garden is the best.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. In fact, I challenge you to a duel.
Do you really think that was a good idea?
No. Actually, no, I do not.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh, hey there folks, I'm Jeff, and this is Tabletop Toolbox. I'm going to be nursing this wound for a bit here while I tell you about Pergola, the newest release from Rebel Studios and distributed here in the US by Asmodee, who was kind enough to provide this review copy. Now, my Polish isn't very good, and I never like to tragically butcher the name of game designers or artists, so I'm just going to go ahead and type out these names here for your perusal. I will share, however, that it's this name, Carolina, that attracted me to this game, as she is the same artist that illustrated the game of Meadow, which is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful board games ever made. Pergola is a lightweight action drafting game for 1 to 4 players who are simply competing to build the most successful garden. It's also one of the most uniquely produced games I've possibly ever seen, with not 1 or 2 or 4, but 5 terracotta-esque flower pots inside this box, one for each player, which I'm finding but difficult to hold, and one for the action tools, which players will draft on their turn to fill their beautiful garden with beautiful things. So, naturally, you might then expect to see equally lavish, icon-laden player boards, but haha, not quite so. As in fact, like a plot of land devoid of any garden, your player boards in Pergola are simple, serene, and filled only with flowery potential. But that's where you come in. You and your fellow players will be taking turns drafting these tools which provide the elements of your garden, planting buttercups, hollyhocks, lavender, and magnolia, which in turn will then hopefully attract bees, butterflies, dragonflies, and ladybugs, giving players 2 layers of elements to manage. Each of these living elements score in separate ways, which players can track using this small scoring board in front of them. Buttercups score in pairs, hollyhocks score in individual sets of 3 colors, lavender scores flat points for each piece, and your single magnolia bush with its many branches scores incrementally for each row of components. Insects also have unique scoring, but most unique perhaps are the bees. As these collect in your buttercups growing from your pergola, you'll be able to collect their honey in these honey jars in your garden. These are, of course, another way to score sweet points based on various conditions of your garden at the end of the game. Of course, not everything in your garden will be as fruitful as you may hope. Your choices as to what goes and lands in your garden will be dictated by these tools and this small action board on the table. Each tool grants multiple resources, mostly plants, to place in your garden. And after taking a tool and placing the requisite components in your garden, you'll also take the related action on the board beneath the slot that tool was in. These actions bring some action into this living garden of yours. Perhaps you'll test out the water feature, letting these water droplets run down this cascade. Or maybe you'll enjoy a little frog jumping across the lily pads of a shared pond between the players. And if those are a bit too high energy for you, you could catch some falling leaves, aiming to have 1 of each color at game end. Each of these actions are different ways to attract insects into your garden, but they also provide extra ways to get points. If one of your water droplets reach the bottom of the fountain, you can choose up to 2 of 3 endgame scoring bonuses. If you collect 4 of any of the plant components in your garden, your frog can collect one of these dragonflies, scoring extra points if you're the first to do so. I started off this video talking about Meadow, a game about building a tableau of cards representing a meadow and its thriving ecosystem by the same publisher and artist. Meadow was characteristically a chill game. You drafted cards from a central board and placed them into your meadow, matching certain symbols along the way. There were some goals to work towards, and you typically felt a little pressure as you strove to score those goals or just get certain cards into play. Pergola, on the other hand, well, it doubles down on the chillness of Meadow, meaning that it's even less stressful, less demanding of players. That's evident in the fact that while insects in your garden must be on a plant to be included in scoring, you are free to gain them without having an available plant to accept them. They'll simply flutter about in your garden until you take this last action on the action board, allowing you to move up to 2 insects in your garden to their appropriate plant. And if that isn't freeing enough for you, perhaps you want to collect some paper lanterns to hang in your garden. Drafted from the same tools, these provide one-time boosts to various actions, or let you choose a different action than the one provided by the tool you take on your turn. Playing Pergola might just be as close to a Zen experience as a board game can get, at least in my personal experience. The simple fact that the player boards don't actually tell you where to place these pieces, but simply gives you an open canvas to do with however you please is so on the nose of the theme of this game. You're literally planting a garden. You can do whatever you want. The world is your hydrangea.
Hydrangea expansion not included yet, or maybe ever. I don't know.
And all of it is bundled in this brilliantly produced, beautifully illustrated package of a modern hobby board game. Oh, did you see this? I kind of forgot to mention this, but along with the planting pots and little tools is this official game trays organizer for all the tiny bits and bugs of this game. Now, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention that nowhere in this box does it really tell you how to fill this thing, as it has more compartments than there are things to store. And also, as much as it facilitates setup and teardown, it doesn't come with a lid, so you vertical storing lunatics, be warned. I should also probably point out that the bugs in this game are practically to scale. Like, they're tiny, which made playing this game, and especially filming this B-roll, a little bit of a physical challenge from time to time. What might also be quite little is the gap between scores. With basically everything in this game providing some value of points, players will typically all be within a few points of each other. And with no one component of this game really standing out over another, it's not even surprising that there's no tiebreaker in the rulebook. All tied players simply share the victory. But here's the thing, despite omitting some specific rules here and there, like how your lavender bushes grow or the specifics of each of those lanterns, I've told you everything there is to see in Pergola. Are you going to discover new strategies in each playthrough? No. Are you going to explore new paths to victory each time you sit down to play? Also, no. Are you going to calculate the potential score of each of the 4 combinations of draftable tools and relatable actions to try and squeeze each point out of your turn? Yes. I mean, you might. A few times, I guess. At least until one of your friends hits you in the head with an actual shovel because you're being a putz. But that's just it. Pergola is a lightweight, refreshing, and relaxing experience. You're not playing it correctly if you're looking to min-max every action and crush your opponents in gardening glory. Much like a field of wildflowers, you're likely just there to hang out with your buds. Cheers. All right, ready?
Yep.
Ending my marriage in 1, 2. Butterflies, dragonflies, and ladybugs. I did it, Mel. I did it.
Whiplash, whiplash, call my lawyer.
The gardening police are coming to get you.
Do you really think that was a good idea?
Sorry.
You're like,
It just felt so real for me. I felt like I was there.
We're never gonna this one done, are we?
no, that sounds like that was a perfect take.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.